Hi everybody, Mike Fifer with Fifer Hobby. I've been asked to do a video on some scenery things, and one of the products that I've been using that I like real well is the TimberLine Scenery Smash Trees. You've probably seen the ads in the magazines where it says just add water and they grow. It's not exactly true, but it's pretty true. And this is what it looks like. And it comes with the foliage and the trees. It's basically the bristle type trees as you've seen people make before. However, I really like the way these turn out, and I'll show you how to do them. Let's take a look at the supplies we need here. Okay, obviously the first thing we need is the trees themselves. I prefer to use a couple of butter dishes. We're going to put foliage in one, and we're actually going to put glue in the other one, and we'll get to that. A small container of Elmer's glue, and of course your newspaper that you work on to keep from making too big of a mess on the workbench, make it easier to clean up, and a little piece of foam to stick the finished trees into so they dry. I've already pre-poked some holes in here with an awl, so it makes it a lot easier to get the tree stuck down in there. And that's basically all you're going to need, plus some water, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the water here in just a second after I open up the package. Okay guys, not every day you get to see into somebody's sink, but anyways, this is kind of how the trees come out of the package. They're basically flattened. But what you do is we just turn on a little bit of water here, and you wet them. And then set them down and let them go for a little bit, and I'll show you what happens to them here. These little trees here are approximately, I'd say, 4 to 5 inches tall. And what happens is, what we're really doing here is when these things are in the package, they get smashed flat, the bristles get smashed flat, and when you wet them, they tend to go back to the shape they were. And we're just going to do all these trunks, and then I'll show you what they look like afterwards. I know this is very exciting. But no kidding, it really works. Let's let them sit for a minute. Okay, here they are after the wetting, and you can see that they've gone from their flat shape into basically a tree form. They're still a little bit wet, and before I go on with the video, I'm going to take a hair dryer and dry these off a little bit. You can let them air dry out in the sun for about 10 minutes and they'll be fine, but I don't want to put foliage on them while they're too wet, so I'm going to dry them and I'll get right back to you guys. Okay, I've dried these guys up, and one thing you notice that you may have to do is that, well, that one there just had some excess that I just pulled out. But you need to kind of look at the trees and see if they're the shape you want, symmetrical. I don't really like a lot of foliage touching the ground, so I just trim off some of the bottom of them just to make a little less foliage on the bottom. And then if you don't like the shape, you can change it. I like that one actually. I like the shape of it. You can see that this one's got some strings hanging way out, and we just need to give them a little haircut here before we get too carried away. Make sure they're fluffed up. See, this one's got some crud in it there. Just try and get the clumpy stuff out. The randomness of the trees is what's the nice part to me. And you'll see when we put the foliage on that they really make a pretty nice looking tree. I think there's about 10 in a pack, and I don't really know what the price is off the top of my head, but if you mix them in with other trees, they really look good. I prefer mixing different brands of trees, say Woodland Scenes and then these, and maybe Hecky and whoever else's trees I can get a hold of. And I think that the variation in the trees really makes the forest look good. See, there's a little wild string there. Want to get rid of some of that, or I do anyway. You don't have to. This is a step you don't have to do unless you absolutely want to. I think they're all trimmed up pretty good. Now let's start getting our materials ready. Okay, I changed it up a little bit on you. I got 2 large butter dishes. That's because we're going to put foliage in one, and we want to be able to move the foliage down and then roll the tree in it. And I also want to be able to do the same thing with the glue. So what I basically do is just pour the foliage into one. And you can see the foliage kind of sticks together, so I like to just mix it up a little bit and get it not so clumped together. You got to kind of just fiddle with it for a while until it all kind of comes apart. I think this is kind of a fall mix. I'm not quite sure. Let me take a look at the package here. This is Northwoods Green, is what they call this color. You can see we're gonna have plenty of foliage to do 10 trees here. Probably do another 10. Okay, now I'm gonna put a little bit of glue, and when I say a little bit, probably, I don't know, I'll show you here. Oh, my glue kind of separated on me a little bit. Let me get a stir stick here. The water and the glue kind of separated within the can there. I haven't used that Elmer's for a while, so I'm just going to mix it back together. And this is not a water and Elmer's mix. This is just straight Elmer's glue, okay? And I hope you can see that. That's about what I got in there. It's oh, I don't know. Actually, don't know how much it is, but you can use your own judgment. But the idea, and we'll do one here real quickly. The idea is to let the glue come all the way up to the edge of the container, and then all I do is lay the tree on, not all the way down into it, but I just rotate the branches on it, on the glue. And obviously I'm losing some on my paper. That's why I have a paper, is because I'm messy and I'm a slob. But once you get the glue on the tips of the tree, I take the foliage, I dunk the tree in the foliage, and then just tap it off like so. And I'll put this in the holder. Let me get all I have handy here is a pair of pliers to stick this into the foam. One down. Really easy. Let the glue run down, do the tips. And I just like to do the tips because if you do the whole trunk, it just fills the whole tree up with foliage, and it just, to me, it just doesn't look right. I think you need some vacant spots in the foliage to make the tree actually look like a tree. And there you have it. That's what they look like. Let me get this one down. I'm going to make a few more, and then I'll show you what they all look like together. Okay. It took me about 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes to do all these trees. Of course, they're not dry yet, but once they dry, you won't see the glue. Any place that you can see white glue right now, you won't see. The foliage that I've knocked off is all that's going to knock off. They don't lose a lot of foliage once you get them to this point. And I don't want to get it too close to the camera here, but I like that you can see through the trees. I think that really gives them a good look. And you can see that 10 trees will make you a pretty good little forested area. And like I say, mix them with other styles of trees, and they look really good, especially varying colors. This is kind of an unusual color for pine trees, but I think it'll mix in well with the more greenish trees that I already have. Well, everybody, that's all there is to it. Once again, these are TimberLine scenery. This is called Northwoods Green. The part number is TK10124-10, which is a 10-pack. Real good instructions on the back. Real easy to make. I mean, if you had a bunch of these, you could make them in, like I said, a matter of 5-6 minutes once you get your material set up. And if you had several groups of them, had several people doing it, you could do a forest in a matter of no time. So that's about it for today, and I hope you enjoyed this video on making the smashed trees. And this is Mike Fifer with Fifer Hobby. I'll see you guys again.